G'day y'all. In this video is just a basic snapshot of what I take out when I go out on the kayak, and it's a follow-up from the previous video I did before on the modifications and walk around of my Hobie. So this is just what I take out virtually every time I go out, and it's minimalist stuff. Like I don't like having a great deal of equipment out there with me. Only just real basics and just keep it simple. That's my motto. So what I'll do is I'll start from the, as you see, start from the right and move across to the left to explain everything that I've got there. But the big thing I want to just make people aware of, and it's all about awareness, is melanoma. So everything that I've got down here is relates to limiting exposure to UV and bright light. Australia is the skin cancer capital of the world. Okay, so melanoma, skin cancer, is the fourth most commonly diagnosed cancer in Australia, and it is estimated that 15,229 new cases of melanoma skin cancer will be diagnosed in Australia. And if we split that, if we look at the figures, it's around 8,000 for males and 6,000 for females. So, and I often see people out there with very limited amount of protection, and whilst that may not be risky for a day or two, constant exposure at that level will definitely put you in a high risk category of developing melanomas. Right, so if we look through the equipment that we've got, we'll start through from right. Clothing that I wear. So I wear long, lightweight trousers, and these things, even though they get wet, are very lightweight, and the material dries very, very quickly. So even if I'm up to my waist in water, the minute I get into the dry, I'm nice and dry in that kayak within 20 minutes. So especially sitting in the sit-up or sit-on kayaks like the Hobies, the exposure to your legs and your feet is paramount. So limiting exposure by using trousers is always beneficial. I always wear long sleeve fishing shirts. These ones that I wear are vented, they're proper fishing shirts, so they're quite cool, and always use a light colour as well. So white I find is very good sitting in the kayak, and it doesn't attract heat, it diminishes the heat on it. So once again, these ones have collars, and they also have a flip-up collar at the back, so it's like a double collar as well. So you can get just the t-shirt ones there, but these ones I much prefer because you can close up and flip the collar up as well. So hand in hand with limiting exposure through long sleeve shirts, I also wear a buff as well, so that I put around the face, and once again lightweight material. It doesn't really affect you out on the water, but it does keep the UV and the sun off the whole face, so that's good to have out there. And I also use a wide brim hat as well. This one's, I've had this for a while, so probably in need of replacement, but it's comfortable and I still like wearing it. Now the other one is your feet. So I wear these reef shoes. Once again, it's got a hardy sole on it, so you're not going to stand on anything sharp in the water. Anything from oysters, discarded fish hooks, beer bottles. Sometimes the grubs leave them lying around. Anything sharp under the water is when your crustaceans, or even something like a stonefish. The upper sole is black, and that does tend to get a little bit hot, and you can feel the heat coming through that, so I just dip my feet into the water and then that cools them off, and then I'm good to go again. Okay, so hand in hand with the protective clothing that we wear out there, I also use sunscreen. So I carry sunscreen with me. I apply it before I go out, and also carry a bottle with me when I am in the kayak. I also use zinc cream. Okay, that's really good for placing on the hands, and also around the mouth and nose. And once again, it's quite small and quite easy to carry on the kayak as well. Sunglasses, very important, sunglasses too, so you can get your polarised and your UVs that aren't polarised. So with your sunglasses, just be aware of the lens categories that we have in Australia. They vary from 0 to 4. I would recommend that you use your lens categories from 1 to 4. So don't worry about a 0. That's more of a fashion accessory, and it's not really, hasn't got that level of UV or even polarization. Not all sunglasses are polarized. The polarized ones are good for fishing because it prevents the glare from coming off the water and actually allows you to see further into the water. And different lenses are more suitable for different colours of water as well. I won't get into that in a moment, but just be aware of that. To keep everything dry, so I keep all my electronic devices and my car keys, for example, I keep in the dry pack that comes with the Hobie. So it's a matter of placing it all in there, rolling it up, and zipping it together, placing it in the hold of the kayak, and that's kept all of my equipment dry. I've never had an issue with water getting into it. So that's another thing too. After the end of the day on the water, you don't want to come back and find that you've lost your keys or you can't start it because your keys are knackered. Okay, so the other safety device that I use when I'm out on the water is the PFD. This one's type 1, so it has a canister in there, gas canister. So you deploy the actual flotation device by pulling on a cord, string there, and that will inflate it. So these are quite lightweight, and I see a lot of people out there without any type of PFD on. Look, these are very lightweight, and if you do get into any difficulties, at least you know you're not going to drown with one of these on. So you really consider applying one of them. Lightweight, and they're not expensive. Okay, I also carry a camera with me. This one's waterproof. And also I have it on a leash. So everything they have on a kayak that's sitting out on exposed to the kayak, you make sure you have a leash and it's leashed in to the object and to the kayak. So I place this onto the camera itself. So it's got a leash on it. This leash also has a flotation buoy on it, so if I do drop that in for whatever reason, the camera's not going to be damaged because it is a waterproof camera, and it'll float, it won't sink. So I attach that to the kayak as well. Also have a pair of pliers. These ones have got a needle nose on them. They're very, very handy for getting hooks in and out of the fish prior to releasing them. Make sure it's leashed in, so I've got the cord there, you can leash it to the kayak. Pliers are good too. These ones have also got the cutting edge on it, so I use that to trim the line if I ever need to cut or place a new trace or rejig my lines out on the water. I can do that. Very handy to have. Okay, next is water. So with the Hobies, they come with your Hobie water bottles there. What I usually do is I top them up night before. I'll fill them up to about here, say. Chuck them in the freezer. All right. So then when I'm out on the water, I'll have pretty good cold water up until about, say, 4 hours on the water. Then it'll melt and it'll slowly come back to room temperature. But that's just a handy tip for you. I'll always carry a minimum of 2 bottles. If I'm going out for a little bit longer, I'll carry some more water in other vessels, but I always have water with me. And food, I always take snacks. I always seem to get hungry out on the water, so I just take, and this is just an example of, I probably need a replacement. This is the old busted ass Broncos pack there. It's probably reminiscent of the season, hey boys. But I always take food in there, like a trail mix and some fruit, and maybe a chocolate bar or a muesli bar as well. So something simple to eat on the water. And always place the rubbish back in there. Always take your rubbish with you. I always take my sounder out as well. This is only a Lawrence X4 Pro, so it's relatively inexpensive. It's black and white, so I don't feel the need to have a colour image. It's good not only to let you know where the fish are, but more importantly is the depth of the water. So if you're targeting different species, I know with the bass and the particular spots that I go to, they like to hang around about 2.5 to 3 metres of water and around some edges there. So if I can target or find those characteristics by using the sounder, I know I'm in a chance with getting the bass. Always take the power pack out with me as well. You can't really run it without it, and it's good because it just clips onto my trickle feed when I get home. Okay, next is the tackle. So like I said, I'm very minimalistic when I go out on the water. I only take the one tackle container. I'm not one of those tackle rats. This one is fitted for the Hobie, and it fits nice and neatly into the stowage hatch right between your legs, so it's very accessible when you're out on the water. And I just have the basics of what I need for targeting different species. So I have different ones. This one's set up for bass, so I put all my bass stuff in there. Others for barra and so on. So I just have a selection of lures. I mostly use lures when I'm out on the water, and also I've got pre-made or pre-tried tied traces up there as well, so I can relatively quickly swap out while I'm on the water. Also, I'm experimenting at the moment with the use of blade lures. I've had a lot of success with blade lures, and these ones here are customised as well, and I might actually do another video on that, is the use of a black light paint on them as well, but more on that in future videos. Okay, last and by no means least, this time with the rod and reel that I use mostly when I'm targeting bass. I only take the one rod and reel out. I have tried to take out one or even three, 2 or 3. For me, I just find they get in the way, so I'm quite comfortable in just taking the one. So this one's a Flugertrion 2 to 4 kilo rod, graphite rod, and it's got a relatively inexpensive Sienna 2500 reel on it, which I have had no issues with, and it's been very reliable. The rod is a beautiful rod. I don't know why more people don't use them actually. Quite inexpensive and great to use. Well matched to that reel. No issues with it, and never lost any fish from them. So it's a good outfit. Right, so there we go. I hope that's provided you some useful information that you can use when you're initially starting on your kayak. Sometimes it's a bit more difficult to understand what you need to take out there, and after a few trips you'll understand where everything should go and how to use it. So I hope that's been of some benefit. Thanks for your time.